It may not sound like farming, because at the end of the day, we end up with grapes which become wine. We're farmers 90% of the year, and then we're wineries.
When you go out there and you're introducing your passion to people and they love the wine, it just makes it all worthwhile.
We're still making wines like they did 100 years ago. Some instances we've improved.
A lot of people have heard about Frank Family, but when they taste it, I think that's when the magic starts.
Rich has been able to keep the legacy while moving us into the 21st century of winemaking.
I always loved wine. I was very fortunate as president of Disney Studios to be able to travel around the world, especially in Europe. We always went out to a dinner, drinking great Bordeaux's and Burgundies. In 1990, I found a wonderful 1930 Tudor home on a hillside here, and that ended up being Winston Hill. It had a very small vineyard at the time, and as we found out what a perfect southwest facing it had and what beautiful soils it had, it's become one of the premier vineyards in Napa. We're sitting in what we believe to be the third oldest winery built in Napa. The building is a National Historic Landmark. We took the old, beautiful Craftsman house and we took it apart and rebuilt it so that people, when they were in tasting, would feel what it was like years ago.
I'm probably the only employee that started with him that's been fired 8 times. Might be 9 now. I think I got fired a month ago. But I just keep coming back to work and he never says anything.
Chances are, if you've heard of Frank Family, you may have heard of Dennis.
He's known as the concierge of Napa Valley, and people come as much to sit in front of him and hear his stories as they do to taste the wine. When I met Todd, he had his degree both in the field and in the winery. He had made everything from sparkling wines to still wines, and I was willing to invest in whatever it would take to step up our game.
Todd is really a team leader here at the winery. He works with all of the staff in all of the departments, and there's such a huge respect for what he does.
The goal in the winery and the vineyards is learn to farm better, learn to make wine better every year. We have nice new technology, new equipment, we have some new science, but we still use some of the techniques that were used in winemaking hundreds of years ago. Barrels here at Frank Family are just another one of our winemaking tools. We only use French oak barrels here, constantly tasting the different vineyards, the different barrels, the different lots. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and you're trying to figure out where the pieces fall.
We have close to 400 acres that we own. We farm on 350 plus of those acres, and it gives us the base supply of what we need. We've decided to name our vineyards after the grandchildren. That is, starting after the first one, which was Winston Hill, which is named after a black and white Springer Spaniel named Winston.
We're very fortunate to pick grapes from some of the best regions in Napa Valley, some of the best vineyards in Napa Valley. We have the Winston Hill vineyards on the eastern side of the Napa Valley, on the slope of the Vaca Mountains. Then we have the Benjamin Vineyard just across the road. Then we move down to Lewis Vineyard in Carneros, which is mainly planted to Chardonnay and a little of Pinot Noir. And then we have the S&J Vineyard up in the hills of Napa on your way towards Berryessa, predominantly to Cabernet and Zinfandel.
I decided to call the winery Frank Family Vineyards because I wanted to have a family atmosphere around what we did. I wanted to have something to be able to leave to the family when I'm not around.
The winery really has an emotional connection for all of us. I was married there. Daryl and Vanessa were married there subsequently. And most recently, Rich and Leslie were married there.
When guests leave the winery, I really want them to leave with that wow factor. Be overwhelmed with their experience. The wines are incredible. They show for themselves. But with the guest experience, it's really about how they interact with our staff, our people, our grounds, our facilities.
They come from all over the world. I love people. I love to talk to them and see why they came, how they heard of us, and it gives me great pleasure to see them enjoying themselves.
It makes me very proud to be out and see people ordering bottles of Frank Family, having them bring it out to the table. That's a proud moment that knows that all the hard work from vineyard to bottle is paying off.
The wine business started as a hobby for Rich. He's turned that into a business. It's really become his passion. And he's brought me into the business, and it's become our passion. It's truly a labor of love, and getting to work alongside him is really a lot of fun.